Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Wall Smith-Bey. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Black News and Information Network, broadcasting live on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. You can definitely catch our show on YouTube or on Facebook live. And if you don't catch it live, you can get it after the show. Go into BNN 247. You will find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and a couple of other social media sites that I have no idea what they are, but you definitely can find us there. Today, our discussion is about surviving the 47 administration, and more especially surviving Dr. Trump from Trump University and all the other failed episodes that he may have taken. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation was a celebration for us in 1863. We claim that it declared us free citizens of the United States of America. And right now, there are executive orders coming out from Donald Trump covering the citizenship of America. Sometimes we don't know if for sure we are free. Now, we can't blame the white man on where we are right now. We can blame him for doing what he did to us years ago, but our success, my people, is not based on what the white man's doing to us right now. We're not taking some of the actions we need to be taking to change the course, to change our trajectory into the 22nd century. In order to do that, we're going to have to do something different than what we're doing. So with that, in our discussion on the 47 administration and Reverend Dr. Trump, this is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting live on Sunday at 3:30. We do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you, or introduce to some and present to others, my friend and the co-host of the Black News Network, the none only Mr. Claude Foster, founder of CGA Consulting Group, here with us today, bringing in the knowledge from Houston. Go ahead, Mr. Claude.
Good afternoon, my brother. Glad to be part of another, hopefully engaging and public awareness show where we speak truth to power. And the truth of it is, right now, Trump is in power. The Republicans control the administration, and we just trying to figure this stuff out. And you know, he's got a committee called DOGE, right? Is it DOGE or DOGE? DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And they've been firing people left and right ever since that executive order. And we've been some courts have stopped what he's doing. I mean, they've gone to California, gone to some of the more liberal courts, but just like the Democrats are shopping for courts, the Republicans are shopping for courts too. Mm-hmm. So, you know, everything's kind of up in the air. But I think people just got to get informed, figure out what's going on, and we got to demand more from ourselves and from the politicians.
Absolutely.
We can't. The time for sitting on the sidelines, brother, we can't sit on the sidelines anymore. We can't say, well, we're going to depend on our elected officials because,
well,
in a way, that's why we are in the situation that we're in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And even as we speak, they're selling us out. Look what Chuck Schumer just did.
Oh, my goodness. That's sad.
Plus 10 of his cohorts, or 9 of his cohorts. So if we still believe in a two-party system that we can depend on this party, I think we got to take another look at our strategy and say, are we going to continue to be on this ship that's sinking with us on it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I just think that from a public standpoint, as a community standpoint, we got to decide the road that we want to try. Because I don't think it's clear. I think this administration, I mean, when you got the Democrats going along with this administration, I mean,
we're lost.
I mean, we struggling, bro. We still on the boat, but we struggling.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I see us having a problem with is we're stuck on voting Democrat, and that is basically our problem right now. We don't understand, or we act like we don't understand that this is the biggest problem we have. Turn the other cheek type Democrat. We have a Democratic Congress that will take all the shit pushed out by those Republicans and don't do nothing about it. Like the young brother, what's his name, that walked out? What's his name? I forget his name. Al Green walked out of the address to the nation, and nobody went with him. You know, they went out one at a time here or there, but less than 10 people walked out of that bull crap that Trump was feeding to those butt kissers out there in the audience. Because
And even when they censored him, they voted to censor him. Where was the Congressional Black Caucus?
Yeah.
We got 67 members of the CBC. Where were they?
It seemed like
all 67 should have been standing with him.
Nobody stood with him that I know of. They left that brother out there to dry. They left Al Green out there alone when all the other ones should have been protesting too. That is the biggest thing. They isolate us and they get one of us to commit to fighting against them, and then they dog the shit out of him. And now the rest of y'all sitting back in the corner like y'all wimpy ass dogs, scared to say something. That's the problem. They don't support each other. The Democrats are a bunch of wussies, and you know what I wanted to say. That ain't gonna do a daggone thing for us.
Well,
and about profanity, but I usually curse when I talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious, man. We don't have I think the Democrats are kind of what's that? What they say when the ship is just adrift. The Democrats are just adrift right now.
They're lost.
Whatever the waves pull them, that's where they go.
And then the sellout like that, that's the biggest treason that you can do that Chuck Schumer did, was to sign off on something that gave the Doge more power than they have already. That was included in the fund the government bill. Oh, we don't want the government to shut down. You know, that is our biggest problem right now. The government runs the country rather than the people. The people ain't running shit. The government's supposed to be working for us, but we're supporting these people that think they're running the government, and they screwing every level of government up. How can you get rid of 50% of the Department of Education?
Well, I don't have a problem with what Schumer did necessarily. What I have a problem with that they didn't do it as a body. They didn't do it it wasn't a democratic consensus.
Okay.
He kind of went off on his own and made a decision that this is in the best interest of the Democrats, and the Democrats didn't go along with it.
Right.
So we're divided, man.
Yeah.
And when are you at your weakest?
We're divided at that level. Look down. We're way down the line as part of our culture and part of the Democrats. And if we're divided up at the White House, what do you think's happening down here? We don't do shit until 90 days before an election. Now we want to hit the ground running and say vote, 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 but we don't know what the hell we voting for. Only a Democrat. That's the only consistent thing we go to the polls for, is to vote Democrat, which is a bullshit. We need to get away from this shit.
Well, but the obvious result of this, at least in the Black perspective, is there's a lot of young people out there, a lot of young leadership that's going to be running for some of these offices, because I think the current crop has kind of exposed themselves.
What do you mean?
In terms of
who are the current crop? The middle-aged people.
Look, there's got to be a replacement for Congressman Green. That's probably going to be a younger person. You look at some of the people that are going in Congress now; they're very young. You look at the Crockett's of the world; they seem to be a little bit more fight in them, because they haven't gotten used to that $175,000 a year yet. so they're still struggling. It's hard for them to find an apartment in DC that they can afford. So they haven't been eaten up by the system. That's why you need new blood.
Clark, what organization, what nonprofit, what group of people, black people, I ain't talking about no damn white people in the group, I'm talking about black people, are working to groom our younger people to go into politics? I mean, everybody's scared. I don't want to be no damn city councilman. I don't want to be on the homeowners association board. I don't want to be a member of nothing because they're wasting my time. Now, how in the hell are you going to get something changed if you don't get to be a part of something? About everything that they do, but nobody wants to work in it. Nobody wants to do it.
But, all politics is local. They just canceled the local elections in Pearland because I guess they didn't have enough people to run or there was no candidates willing to run for any of the elected seats. So there's a lot of apathy out there. People are hurting, man. And
we're sick and tired of incompetence in the government. That's what the problem is. Nobody wants to run for political office because they see the corruption. They see the stupidity.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Okay,
and everything.
Let's look at this fight.
What?
The Republicans had a plan called Project 2025, right?
Yeah.
They ran on that plan, right?
Yeah.
They elected their guy, right?
Yeah.
And what's that guy doing? Implementing that plan, right?
Implementing the plan.
Give me a situation where the Democrats have done something like that.
They never done anything cohesive. Everything they've done is one person standing up there talking about they making the right damn decision for the body. But Chuck Schumer is played out right now. I'm sick and tired of seeing these old ass white men standing up talking about they doing shit for the American public and they ain't doing a damn thing for us. But it just
why did Schumer say why did he say he did that? Did he give a coherent justification?
I don't know. I know he said he didn't. He feared. He said more poor people will be hurt by the government shutting down than the people in the White House, that's an obvious damn statement. Everything y'all do is benefiting y'all. Even if the government shut down, everybody that works in the House of Representatives and the Senate still get paid. Their paychecks never stop.
He done got too comfortable. He been in office too long and got too old. He's 74 years old. He's been in office 26 years, and he's too comfortable.
26 years.
He came in office in 1999.
Nancy Pelosi been there since 1920. Ain't she? Your ass need to go home too.
They're old. They're rich. They've gotten rich. They've gotten old,
and there is some way. Not only those two in the Democratic. I mean, if Cory Booker, the only one I can give credit to is that little Hispanic lady that don't hesitate to talk shit to anybody up there. There's some black ones that do it too, but I've seen her lately still talking shit to Chuck Schumer and anybody else that don't want to do what
Alexandria Cortez.
Yes, Cortez.
Yeah,
they don't want to see. She talks fact. She ain't biting her tongue. And there's a couple of black ladies that do the same thing. They arguing with these white folks, and these white folks talking to these black women like they ain't shit. But where the men at that's supposed to be up there arguing with them?
Well, the sisters,
black women.
The sisters are out there fighting. Where the men at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where are they at?
I mean, if you look at most of the people that were there with Al Green, it was a majority of them were women.
Yeah, we want to sit back and bitch about it, man. And we really don't want to participate. But as long as we getting our little paycheck, we happy. But see, Donald Trump fix all that shit. He gonna get rid of half of every damn thing in the government, which I applaud him for that because the government is too damn big and too damn powerful. It's too much money.
Well, do you think the CBC gonna fight back now that Trump is over there messing around in South Africa again because
he attacked Yemen. He attacked them. He bombed them last night. Just last night. He said if Iran continue to support them, he gonna bomb their ass too. And they already saying they targeting the nuclear weapons manufacturing companies over there in Iran, and that's who they finna get. And at Mar-a-Lago looking at his damn big screen, watching the bombs hit places in Yemen because the Yemen rebels. What kind of shit is this, man? This is, and we don't have no reason to be trying to get in no damn war when we were trying to. It's almost like if you don't do what Trump say, you're going to be an enemy. And you know why he don't like Justin Trudeau?
Why is that?
Because Justin Trudeau and Ivanka got a little thing going. Look at some of the pictures in history of the times that they met. He hit that man. He gonna mess that man. He gonna mess Canada up. Watch, because he's mad because his wife likes Trudeau. That's the problem. And it ain't an obvious thing to the public. It ain't an obvious thing happening out here.
See, here's the thing. Here's a problem I think we got as Black Americans in terms of this battle. We're not unified. It's the black. The black middle class is not seen as our ally anymore.
Where are they got a black middle class?
Yeah, we got a black middle class, but they're not seen as our ally. The politicians are part of the black middle class. Our sororities, our fraternities, our social service organizations.
What's a good start?
What's a good start?
To get our unification together.
Well,
I got an idea about a good start, but I don't know what it is. I mean, survive. If we're going to survive this 47 administration, we're going to have to unify. And that's what you and I have been preaching.
I don't know about the violence. We don't have an arm. What violence we going to use, brother?
You said violence with a V as in Victor?
We
don't need violence. We need unity. All we need, there's 18,000 police departments in the United States, right? There's 32,000 black churches in the United States. How about 5,000 of that 32,000 churches unifying and doing something to make America the way it's supposed to be? But we first have to do something for ourselves. Wait a minute, Claude, let me say this last statement. If we cannot come to a conclusion on who the hell we are, then we ain't never gonna get together. We can't even get the basic shit agreed upon. We don't know who the hell we are. Some of us call us indigenous. Some of us call us black. Some of us call us African American. But when you look at the history, you'll find that all of that shit is a farce. None of that applies to us, but we accept it because America accepts it. And we accept it because anytime you look at the application, they put in black or African American on there, and you ain't neither one. But you accept that because that's what they tell you are. That's our problem. We don't know who the hell we are. We're not black.
Well, we're whatever they got the paper on us.
Yeah, they classify.
They tell us. I mean,
unless you are identified, you can't go to Italy and tell them that you are black American. You can't go to Africa. Africans don't even use the word Africa in who they are. What are you going to say? I'm African Sierra Leone? What are you saying? They don't even use the word. But here we are capitalizing the word and making it a big thing, and we're not even that damn African. Africa is something that is Abulon or something like that. I forget what they say. Abulon. That's the original name of that continent. And there's 54 countries in that continent. And not one of those 54 countries classify themselves as African, whatever country they live in.
But you can't criticize too heavily the people that have tried to live. Remember, we were on paper as being nothing but property. They got the paper. Yeah. The paper didn't go away.
Right.
The books that said that we got certain race traits and habits, more like the ape than the human, that paper didn't go away.
No.
So all the attempts, whether it was Jesse Jackson with African American or James Brown with I'm Black and I'm Proud, all these are attempts to remove the stigma of that paper that they still carry. That's still in the white man's drawer somewhere.
And on the document. Yeah, still in there.
On the document. We don't have the documents. If we had the documents, we'd probably burn the documents. But now, think about it. Look at all.
We can't prove who we are. Well, most of us can't prove who we are. Some of us can't. If you can prove you're a Black American, prove it. Show me where does that come from? If you can prove you're African American, prove it. Show me where that comes from. You can't.
All you can get
past the Civil War.
The only thing that you can prove is the fact that you was a slave. That's on paper.
Descendant, yeah.
Ain't no passports.
Let me explain something right quick. The Emancipation Proclamation allegedly freed the slaves, right? That's what everybody be clapping.
There's a piece of paper that says that, yeah.
But Emancipation Proclamation is not law. It's not law. Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. Emancipation is what they call the act. I looked it up in Black's Law Dictionary. It is the act of freeing a captive person or giving a captive person freedom. That is what emancipation means. Proclamation is nothing more than a formal announcement made by a particular government that control people. So that is what we are dealing with. Emancipation Proclamation ain't about shit. It put a lot of stipulations in there, and the white man want to use it because we're too stupid to know that it didn't do shit for us. But when you talk about a law is when a regime that orders human activity says this is what you're going to do. That is the law. But if it is not a regime saying that, they didn't say the Emancipation Proclamation law or the Emancipation Proclamation Act or code or ordinance or resolution or statute. They didn't say that. They just said the Emancipation Proclamation, blank. What the hell is it? It's a document talking shit about slavery. We don't want it here in America, and we're not going to have it. And then we're going around saying, yeah, but the only thing it did was pay the white man for liberation of slaves. Up to what, $300? And there's on that. Nobody collected. Only about 20 slave owners collected. And now
I take that back. Now remember when DC, when they first freed the slaves in the District of Columbia, the DC district, and I think each slave owner was paid like $600. That's a lot of money back then
per slave. But what happened when they wrote the 14th Amendment? What was one of those lines in the 14th Amendment? They said that the United States will not pay anybody, especially for the liberation of slaves. And if you come to the courts trying to charge the United States, you will be prosecuted for whatever. But the 14th Amendment says that we don't owe you shit. So the liberation of slaves did not stand under the Emancipation Proclamation because the 14th Amendment says we ain't paying you. We ain't paying you for you letting them slaves go. So don't come asking. So basically, we ain't really, it's a freedom without an execution of freedom. There's no document saying that we're free. That's why Trump.
The 14th Amendment says, but neither the United States or any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave.
What does that mean in Negro terms?
But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void.
So what does that mean, Clark?
I guess what it means is that the North won, and they said because we won the war, we ain't paying you for your slaves.
But then you turn around and you take the generals of the Confederate Army and you make them governors of the 11 states. Every state got a Confederate general as a governor.
Well, let me ask you a question. I don't want to put you on the spot on the air.
Do it.
But Hiram Revels was a representative in Mississippi, right?
Mm-hmm. Say that again.
Hiram Revels, wasn't he a representative in Mississippi?
I don't know the name.
Howard Rebels.
I don't know the name.
His slave owner taught him to read.
Mm.
So when Mississippi was writing their constitution on who could vote, when they was putting in the slave codes about having the ability to read and stuff like that, he went along with he voted for it.
Mm.
And he was basically a middle class black person even back then. He had been taught how to read by his master. And that type of person kind of illustrates the black middle class we have today.
Mm-hmm.
They do what's best for them at the expense of everybody else. He was the only black man in that state constitutional convention.
Mm-hmm.
And he voted to have that included, that you must know how to read and write in order to register.
Do you know that Mississippi was the first state to have more than 20 elected government officials, black elected government officials?
Right.
That only happened for a year. In the second year or the next voting period, they got rid of all of them.
Right.
They used the Klan, they used scare tactics, they killed family members, they did everything they could to make them people stop running and get them out of those seats. And they did it. But that was the only time in Mississippi's history where they had more than 20 people in elected officer positions.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not criticizing the people back then that passed those kind of laws, the black people, but I'm just saying that's the kind of mentality of the educated, sometimes of our educated brothers and sisters who see themselves a little bit differently.
Mm. So how do we combat this administration? What is there anything that you may know of that we can do right now? I mean, we got a lot of powerful people out there, and all we doing is, I mean, we got brothers with so much damn money, it's ridiculous. But neither of these brothers, none of these billionaire black men own hospitals or building neighborhoods or communities. The biggest thing that we know our black people for with money, cars. They got plenty cars, plenty watches, plenty diamond jewelry. We don't know them for having schools,
and not many of them don't have a job.
And
No, go ahead. And not many of them don't have a job.
Yeah, but all those millions that they got, those millions that these black men got are based on how white men decided to let them get those millions. If a black man is walking around with 30, 40, 50 million dollars, $1 billion, they didn't get it from black people. The white man gave it to them. And why do you think he gave it to them? It gave it to them to shut their ass up. Why, when they get to all this money, they disappear off the map? Why? Well, I'm just saying, I don't understand. They're not out here. They're getting paid. Their families are rich. I mean, LeBron James did a beautiful thing. He's got a school in Ohio, but there's 20 more on the level of LeBron James that ain't doing shit. And then if you go up a little higher, Michael Jordan, billionaire. His big thing is, let's do some prisons. Let's build some more prisons. But the prison system is based on your 4-year-old nephew or niece or daughter or somebody in school. That's where they get their stats from the fourth grade in our public school system. Now back to surviving Trump and the 47 administration. 50% of the Department of Education is being disbanded. I mean, 18% of the Department of Veterans Affairs are being dismissed. All these people are being fired just like that. Overnight, you get an email saying, don't come to work because your ass is fired. Now, you already got plans to do all this stuff in your family and you got your money set. So by the time you get to retirement age, you're going to have enough to survive. But when they just throw this on you, you ain't got no intentions on retiring tomorrow or the next day. But dealing with Trump, you going home today. So you got all these federal employees that's being kicked out of federal jobs. Right. You can walk back in there and start that started back up. How are you going to start these programs. You got to prime these programs just like a car. If you've drained the carburetor of all the gasoline and you go inside and hit the starter, it's not going to start right up. It takes a while for the fuel to come from the fuel tank to the carburetor. So it takes a while for these people to get primed back up in order to work again, because all the systems that they had was shut down, and they had nothing to use. You can't even log into your computer, but you back at work.
But I guess, brother, I guess part of the problem is there's not enough of black people in America to go at it alone. So I think from a strategic, I mean, we saw that. I mean, there's just not enough black folks to do it, to go at this administration alone. So what option do we have except to form these coalitions with
There's nothing serious about the coalition.
I know that. But do we are we large enough to go at it alone?
There's not one serious organization ready to stand up front and lead us anywhere. Not one organization. And I hope you don't come out here with the NAACP, but they sell out ass. They ain't about taking us nowhere. They're about having their gala once a year and whatever else they do, funding the Black Grammys or whatever they call that stuff.
Yeah, but if we continue, I think there's we can constructively criticize them.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. I'm a member of the NAACP.
Yeah, I mean I think we have that responsibility. We got our infrastructure out there. Now, if the infrastructure is not doing what it's supposed to do, I think that we have a responsibility, all of us, all of our listeners have a responsibility to speak to those inadequacies.
Not as individuals.
I mean, the NAACP is going to be meeting in Charlotte, North Carolina, either this month or next month. I mean, in June or July. This. I don't know whether I'm gonna go. I don't know. I might.
If you want to go, I'll tag along with you. Let me know. We can read some questions.
Yeah, but I think we have a responsibility to hold our organizations that are out there on our behalf accountable. Be they elected officials. I mean, I was told.
The organizations you talking about? All these organizations that are invisible right now. Who are you talking about?
Well, I think that we need to hold the Congressional Black Caucus accountable. We need to hold the NAACP accountable. We need to hold the Urban League accountable. We need to hold the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights accountable. I mean, I think black people in general, I think that we need to hold our organizations and people accountable, so that if they're not doing what we expect them to do, if they're not elevating our voices, because that's what our organization does. It elevates a single member's voice. And if they're not doing that, we need to hold them just as accountable as we're saying holding the Trump administration accountable.
Okay, so the Congressional Black Caucus. When the last time you heard from them?
Well, last CBC weekend.
What did they do?
Well, they have workshops.
No, I'm talking about when did they stand up against?
I have not seen them stand up as a group against this administration.
And who was that? Name another group you mentioned.
The NAACP. I mean, they can stand up. They can the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights represent all the liberal organizations of the.
And you seen them do?
I haven't seen them with a collective conference.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Okay, right here in Texas, we got the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. Have you seen all of them stand at a press conference together?
No, I have not.
So what I'm saying is, we got people that got access to the microphone, whose voices can be elevated. Mm-hmm. Because all we got collectively, the people, the masses of the people, is the streets. We went to the streets in Mississippi. We took to the streets in Alabama. Some of us got beat upside the head in different places. Mm-hmm. So that's our option.
So is the option to be nonviolent again? Or
I don't know. I haven't come to that conclusion. That I don't think nonviolence will work. You see what just happened to the Palestinian that was nonviolence at the university. They took his ass down to, they took his green card and took his ass down to Louisiana somewhere and got him locked up. Miles away from his house.
You can't use your freedom of speech in this country without going to jail. You better be born here if you're gonna do something like that. That green card, that green card did not allow him to survive.
Now, can you imagine if we took to the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this ain't like back in the 60s where most black folks had clean hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
We hit the street now, a lot of brothers gonna get locked up because they got outstanding warrants, outstanding tickets, outstanding this, lack of paying child support. The white man got his paper on he got paper.
So what you just saying is a system that says it's not going to work for us to hit the streets because we got too much baggage. We can't go out there.
We got different baggage than we had in the 60s and 70s, bro.
So now I really can only see one way to change our trajectory. It ain't one way. And I'm proud to say that it's through the Almighty God. I mean, God had, let me finish my thought. God assembled Black people for not only the praise and worship of God and the uplift of our Father. God assembled these Black people to have an agenda to change their trajectory. Go to Leviticus 25:10 and see exactly what it says. It says it's going to return that America that's supposed to return the land and the people to their heritage, to theirs. This is our land. And it's on the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell says, Leviticus 25:10, it's supposed to return it to us. Now, if you want us to be who we're supposed to be, then the church will have to do what it's designed for. It's not designed to elevate a preacher, and it's not designed for us to come away with a great feeling every Sunday. It is designed for us to show that we can pull together and do something other than joke, jive, and shake. We great dancers now. We great fan flappers. That's what's happening right now. This two-step thing and they flapping their fans and all that bull crap going on. We are better than that. But we can go to a party and have the greatest time. But after that, we ain't doing shit. If we could take those 20,000 people that go to a trail ride or to go to a concert and mobilize them to not buy gas on June 19th, then we're doing something. But we can't do nothing but get the Black people to come together on entertainment. Let somebody say, well, T.D. Jakes is going to be speaking in San Antonio next week. The damn church doors will be overwhelmed. But you're just going to hear a man speak, but you ain't going to get shit done. You're going to give somebody your money for nothing. You ain't going to get nothing. You're going to give something to make somebody rich. But I got to see a church stand their ground and start making a difference in the community other than sitting there every Sunday collecting money and not getting out in the community making things better for the people that attend your church. You're not making it better. You're giving away clothes from the pantry. You're giving away food from the pantry. That ain't about DODO, and that's not what I wanted to say.
But see, Trump's got Fetterman, right? The guy that wears the jumpsuits in the Senate.
I know him, the one that had the stroke.
Yeah, he said that the Democrats are bringing casserole to a knife fight.
I heard him say that too. He's telling the truth because the Democrats are trying to abide by the law. They're abiding by the law when the Republicans said F the freaking law. They ain't following no laws. They doing what the hell they want to do. A judge can come and tell them to do something and they still don't damn do it. They don't give a F about no damn.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, let's pose this question. If the Democrats had came to Washington, D.C. and did what the Trump supporters did on January 6th, and a Democratic president was in office, and it was all Black folks that did that, right? let's just say they was all black, and they broke into the Congress, and everything was the same except it was black. Do you think Biden would have pardoned all of them?
He wouldn't have pardoned a single one of them. He would have said,
and the black folks, the black elected officials, and the black so-called sayers would have been saying, yeah. That's the difference.
Everybody agreed that these people never should get out of jail again. But now you letting all these damn people out that stormed the Capitol.
Trump he didn't even try to. His Justice Department officials said, "Well, we're gonna look at each case individually." Time he got in office, he said, "No, I ain't gonna waste out. Let them all out."
And look who he fired. He fired the people who prosecuted them. He fired everybody that had any. He even fired judges.
Now, would a Democrat administration would have done that?
No, ain't no way.
They were still talking about our criminal conduct, our attitude, what we had did, that it was a criminal element. That's the difference, brother.
But I'm still looking. How do we combat this administration and the future administration? We can only say the only consistent thing we got that can muster enough people to do something is the church.
But do you think? Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you
decide to stand up and say something publicly? To get only one church did it, and that's this reverend from Atlanta talking about Target. But now you don't hear shit about Target anymore. Why? That shit got to be done consistently, day by day by day. Who's been in the news since every damn day this year? Who been in the news every day this year? One person. Who? You know, Trump. Trump is on the news every single day. You didn't see Biden every day. You didn't see Obama every day. You didn't see Ford or Kennedy or what's the one from Texas? I can't even know.
Johnson.
You didn't see none of them every day. But Trump is on TV every single day. That's a strategy. That is to embed your mind with this fool to be somebody in your mind. Even though he ain't.
It also tells you how people view government. They see government. They see government workers, and they see all the faces that look like us in these government jobs. That's why that has been no outrage.
But they still don't really
like it is.
We're only a fraction.
We're only a fraction, but our skin color makes us highly visible.
Yep, you can't miss it.
Our skin color, like. Remember when they had the college football playoff and they was interviewing this white guy and he came to Atlanta. He said he had never seen so many black people. He said they're everywhere. He said they're in the restaurants. They're everywhere. That's what they interviewed this guy.
He shows the mentality of some Americans.
But he saw blacks in places that I guess he didn't see blacks where you don't normally see blacks.
Where he operates.
But he said that they was in the hotel when he checked in. They was at the restaurants where he went to. Blacks in Atlanta are it's like white America. Like you go somewhere and all you see is white folks. But that don't startle you. Seeing white folks everywhere, you would never hear a black person say
first. You don't get scared. You see that many black people, you get scared. That's the truth.
That's basically what he was saying.
Mm-hmm. That's why they got white people scared to go to New Orleans. They go, but they're scared. Them people scared to go down there because they think that it's dominated by black folks. And same with Atlanta. They scared of that too. I just think that the only way we can change anything, Claude, we got to start somewhere. And all I need is one church to say, let's boycott.
But you got a church. New Birth in Atlanta, they did that.
That's what I'm talking about. But he's not consistent. He stopped. But you haven't heard anything this Sunday. Did you hear anything he said this Sunday?
Maybe he gets some pressure.
You got to double down on it. Once you put that declaration out saying we're going to target.
How do you know the FBI ain't looking at the? How you know the FBI ain't looking at their books
like that? The FBI going into your background. They're trying to take you down now. Yep. That's the way this system works. Anybody that's a threat to the government, the way it is right now, your ass is getting investigated. Your taxes are being looked at. Everything's being looked at.
Now you asked the question about economics. You heard what's the name that he preached at Angie Stone's funeral. Angie Stone died broke.
Yeah. Right.
Who got all that money?
The white folks, the people who produced her records, they got all the royalties. That's what the problem is. You got to get your.
How did they wrestle control of that?
She signed the contract and gave it to him without knowing. It was a contract that she signed now, and that's why they got away with it. Just like when the white man say, Timmy, I want you to sign this piece of paper, and I'm gonna take care of your land for you. Make sure the taxes are paid. Make sure you ain't gonna have no trouble whatsoever getting through the day and doing what you do with your land. But and when Timmy died, guess what? The white man owns it.
So do we have any economic independence, brother?
Huh?
Do we have economic independence and group economics?
We don't have. We missing the first step, brother.
That's the first step, economic independence.
No, that ain't the first step. The first step in if we ever get anything going, we got to do one thing first. And the first thing is to identify who the hell we are. We don't know who we are. We claim we're black. We claim we're African American. We claim we're colored. We claim we're Negroes. The only thing on the books right now is the word colored. In 1924, when Joseph Plecker put it out in an official government document that there are only two races in the United States, colored and white. That's it. If you fall in everything that ain't white, you colored. And white folks was trying to put their name down as Indian. This is why he did it, because white folks was looking at the benefit that the Indian tribes were getting. So now they claiming that they Indian, so they can get the same damn benefits, and millions of them did. But Plecker said, if you are white and you claiming that you're Indian, trying to get benefits from the governments, we're going to find you and prosecute you.
So let's start there. So how do we fix that?
Ain't no fixing if you depending on the government to fix it.
No, all these identities, you say we're colored. So that means we're lumped in with Asians and any other.
Everybody. That's why
everything that ain't white.
We always get screwed when it comes to contracts or anything else, because they switch the deal. They switch the script on us every time and call us minorities. And when you say minority, you mean everybody colored. That, and especially in San Antonio, if you fight as a black man to get the contract written a certain way by the city and you win, they say, okay, we're going to start including, make sure we put a stipulation in there where you get 33% of every contract coming out of the city. Okay, we're happy now. But then you see the contracts coming out and they say 33% minority. San Antonio is Mexican. All the Mexicans are minorities, according to America.
Y'all pay y'all local officials a lot of money. I see why everybody wants to run for city council and mayor.
Well, they don't pay that much. They just got a raise.
No, a city council member makes 100 and some.
They make right at 100,000, right? I know they were making 52,000.
No, they make 90 something.
Okay, they were in the 90s.
Yeah, 90s. Because in Houston, they only make 65,000 a year.
And see, if that's all you making, you're gonna make some deals. You're gonna make a lot of deals to get your money. And it's all about getting your money. And everybody up in the White House and with
but even at 94, that's double the federal poverty. I mean, you're making almost $100,000 a year. That's a decent salary in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's a great salary for some people, because a lot of people are still making $9 an hour.
Yeah,
$8.
I mean, I think the federal 5% of the federal poverty level is what, 50-some thousand?
I'm not sure.
Somewhere in there. So, so economic independence. But you're saying that we first got to know who we are.
Yeah, we got to know who we are. We got to come together.
What's that going to do?
We got too many damn groups. of our people that don't know who they are. And then it's so easy for other groups to infiltrate us, like the Haitians, like the Panamanians, the Black Mexicans. We don't. Who are all the people that fall in with African Americans or black? Black because you're from Mexico and you're black. You're not black. You have to. You don't have that distinction. Just like you can't take a Scottishman and an Irishman and say they're the same, but both white. They both look white. And if you try to, you're going to have a fight. These guys fight each other. Look what happened in Ireland, how even the subdivisions of people maintain their ethnicity. They did not allow other people from the other side of town to become part of them. Now, we tried that, they said, well, don't go down that street. Them Bloods are down there. Don't go over there. Them Crips are over there. We tried it here, but that ain't how. You can't do it with that type and level of violence because you are not national. You're not able to represent us as a national organization as Bloods. You can't represent us as a national organization as MS-13. You have to pick who we really are. And in order to know who we really are, you got to be able to figure out who it is and research. If you do the research, you'll find out who we are. You'll find out that many of us are not did not come over on the slave ships. Many of us came right out of the lands that are here in America and made slaves. How did we get black people all up in Montana and Washington State right away if all the black people came in on ships that landed on the East Coast? How did we get our black people all over the country if all black people came in through Georgia and Florida? How did we get black people everywhere when we only showed up at 1 or 2 ports or 3 ports on the East Coast? That's bullshit. We were already here, brother. And they hide this from us because they are afraid of us taking over what's ours. The Bible tells us that it's ours. We are the only ones that don't know. They know it's ours. The Bible knows it's ours. The Italians know it's ours. The Greek know it's ours. The Germans know it's ours. Everybody knows it's ours except us. We don't have the
paper to prove it.
We don't have the paper because nobody wants to do the research. I got the paper. I seen the treaty of 1782 or 1774 when America was doing trades with Morocco, and Morocco sent a treaty to America saying, look, my people are there in your country. I need them to have a nation and a citizenship in that nation. And they did this for years. The Moroccans sent the treaty with their trade ships. But America ignored the hell out of Morocco. So what Morocco did was confiscated every ship that America sent that way. And they did not release those ships until America signed that damn treaty. Not under duress, but they didn't hurt the people. They put them up in luxury hotels and whatever the hell they supposed to do, but they would not release them back to America until America agreed to something. She said, we got too much trade going between us for you not to agree with us or to make an agreement, a treaty. So look up the Treaty of 1772 or something. I think it's 1772. I'd have to get the official year. But that treaty tells us that we are a nation of people, not a damn a migrant or an import. We're not that. We're a nation of people, and we got to accept the fact that we're a nation. And if we want to fight the 47 administration, the 48, 49, the 50 administration, and become somebody, and become recognized as a group, then we got to realize who the hell we are. And the biggest problem we got, we don't know who we are. You know, I talk to you right now. You'll tell me what? You what? What's your nationality?
I'm black.
See, you talk to me, somebody else, they're going to say what? No, I ain't black. I'm not a color. I'm African American.
Okay, I pulled it up. The Moroccan.
You found it?
American Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 28 June 1786.
Okay, that's it. That's it. Read that treaty, and it's going to tell you that we are a nation within a nation, just like the Vatican. Just like the Vatican.
This is a treaty of peace and friendship established between us and the United States of America, which is confirmed and which we have ordered to be written in this book and sealed with our royal seal at the court of Morocco. And what was the purpose of the treaty?
To give us recognition in the United States and diplomatic immunity, to put us in a position where they cannot treat us like we're nobody. They got to recognize us as a nation.
It was a long treaty. I mean, I can read it all, but it's
in it. It tells it specifically makes America agree to.
This was in 1700. Slavery didn't end until 18.
So what does that tell you? We were a nation before slavery. We were a nation all along. But America,
right? Yeah, we were a nation since 1776, right?
We were a nation before that. I got this book, Claude. You should read this book right here. I know you do. You got all your books and you read, but this book right here, look, by Jack Weatherford.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
it talks about how the white men worked their way up from the southern tip of Venezuela all the way up to the Americas.
Yeah, I've heard of that book. I haven't ordered it.
Taking over and killing cultures. That's what the white man do. It takes over a culture and it kills it so they can occupy whatever that culture had. And they destroyed so many people in the process and so many types of livestock and animals and herbs and spices and medicine. They destroyed the people that knew how to implement these things because they wanted what the people had. They went over to was it I'm gonna just say Venezuela. And when they got to Venezuela, they robbed Venezuela of all the silver and gold that they could muster and took it back to England. So this was when they had no machinery to do the mining.
Well, let me ask you a question because this is new to me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew a lot. Now, this says that Morocco is the United States' oldest ally. It was the first country in the world to recognize the United States in 1777. Mm-hmm. After the United States independence from Great Britain. Mm-hmm. So there had to be black folks here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we got a nationality, but we don't claim it because the white man here won't allow us to do it without.
But explain that we're not Moroccan.
We don't have to be. We are part of what we call the Moorish Empire. We're sovereign of the Moorish Empire. We're sovereign citizens of the Moorish Empire. But
the slave trade was real. They brought millions of slaves.
No. They ain't brought no million slaves. You can't even calculate 1 million slaves on boats coming from Africa. You can't do that. If you can show how many trips they had to make to get 1 million slaves over here, then you're a miracle maker.
Well, no.
It cannot be. Now, they did bring ships loads of slaves from Africa, no doubt. But you cannot say that there was 1 million. I would say if they bought max 300,000.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
No, most of them were births in America, yeah.
They're not going to bring no million black folks from Africa over here. Because Africa, in my mind, where are the cities or places in Africa that raise hell about their people being taken from their country without due course, without fights? You know, they're being taken and loaded for trade. You know, right. You ain't traded no 6 million people for no damn rubies and jewelry. You didn't do it. And so the bullshit that they've been teaching us is not real.
Yeah.
That's why I say I honor the fact that he's dismantling the public school system. All right, let me ask you some questions.
So you support that?
Huh?
You support the?
Hell yeah.
You think black people ought to support the dismantling of the Department of Education?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why, Claude. Hold on just a second. Because what I got to tell you is why I support the dismantling of the Department of Education. That one, what is it? Give me a
But,
second.
but that makes you counter to the Democratic Party. They supports.
The Democratic Party is a waste of damn facility. They don't do what the Democratic Party is supposed to do, in my opinion.
They're not a good opposition party.
Mm-mm. They're not.
So you agree with the dismantling of
the dismantling of what? Of the Department of Education? Yeah.
Department of Education.
I absolutely 100% agree with Donald Trump getting rid of it because who wrote the books that we learned in school?
They did.
Who taught the classes that we learned in school?
They did.
Who decided when we go to school?
They did.
Everything about school, public school, has been put in force by them. And why are we not being considered for what they put in force by us? I mean, by them. We're not being considered at all for what they decided to do on behalf of us. We don't have nothing to do with that. Nothing at all. I don't know where Melissa is, but everything you can think of right now that we're governed by in this country has been done by white people. And we were not considered in the making of none of it. So everything you've been taught, Claude, everything you know about history, you don't know nothing because you don't know your own history. I struggle with learning my own history. I'm sure you do too. People in America, our people, our Black, African American, whatever you want to call yourself, have a problem with learning the truth and accepting the truth. We are so easy to say we don't want to go down that road. We look at the Bible like it's the Holy Grail or something. Every word in that Bible is not true. It's a story of allegory. It's a story of stories. Every story 300, 400 years later got written. And the people write it from stories being told 300 to 400 years ago that passed down to you. And you finally got around to put it on paper. You're going to write it to make it sound as effective and good as you can because you want a bestseller. And you did that. And you got a bestseller. But now you got people so damn gullible that they look at the word in the scripture and they think every damn word in there is true. And it's not. I'm in a PhD program learning for ministry. And it tells me don't take the Bible literally. There are words in the Bible that there are chapters in the Bible that are allegory, that are fictitious, that are stories about what they wish would have happened. But we sit around and talk like if you try to tell somebody that, they want to fight you.
Right. I knew that. Yeah, I knew it was allegory.
I actually been told you don't believe in the Bible. And I can't believe that. I believe some things in the Bible, but I ain't stupid enough to say every word in there is true. You got to be a good damn fool to be saying some shit like that because it just ain't true. And all I'm saying is we got to wake the hell up. Just because there's a change in the way you believe in history, you can't even tell some Black people that Columbus didn't discover America. You can't want to fight you about that. The simplest things people get up in arms about when you go against what America has taught them about them. This American system has tainted us to the core. And only a few of us have enough sense to get out behind that bullshit that we've learned in elementary school. You want to be smart. You want to be the best person in your class. Of course you do. But you got to realize that some things ain't right. What they tell you is not right. And if you don't recognize that, then you ain't never going to grow from who you are or what you were. You got to figure out who you are. When you can't sit there and unequivocally tell me who you are, then you boo-boo the fool because you don't know. And that's just me saying that. But if you don't want to know who you are, you're a bigger boo-boo the fool.
Well, public education will never teach us the truth.
Yeah, it'll never tell us. Look at what it was the first thing about when they said they'll prosecute teachers if they taught you this in the classroom about how the white man raped our women and beat our Black men and castrated our black men and burned our black men and hung our black men and women. I mean, they were so treacherous. The savages themselves, called the Indian savages, when they wiped out 3/4 of the Indian population, us, we were the ones that they killed. Not Indian. Don't separate Indian from black, because black is Indian. You cannot separate us. They killed us. Over 3/4 of our population, the 10 million or so black people that were here when they got here, they brought the guns. We didn't have no guns. We had trust and belief. And that is the problem with us. We got too much trust and we got too much belief in this society and this government that we have condemned our damn self to hell. We ain't going no damn where, because we're so gullible in the process. All we got to do is stop believing in the bullshit that we've been told, and we can get somewhere.
So I mean, given your understanding, brother, I mean, and because I operate in the framework of the system. I have up until now, but the political system, the advocacy world, and that's constrained by everything that you're talking about. So how do we step out of that?
How do you step out of it? Is by doing the research. You got to find a lecturing series that can teach you who you really are. And you cannot learn who you really are without going through a type of a lecturing series. And that lecturing series will tell you more than you ever known about who you are. Noble Drew Ali is an individual who did the research, who figured out how to access who he really was. And what he did was connect us in this country back to our ancestors. He was like an Alex Haley in the 18th century. In the 19th century, he did the research. He figured out how to tie us back to our ancestry, because our ancestry didn't stop just because we were abducted.
Okay, but let's assume we all get there in America. How does that change America?
It does change America. It changed 90% of the white folk being the owners of the land to 90% of the black people being the owners of the land. That's number one. Land is the key. The black farmers no longer are the minority farmers. They're the predominant.
But you ain't talking about just changing the mind. You're talking about changing reality.
Yeah, the reality of what's on the ground is a lie. We're not. We're just existing in this country. We're not living. We're existing. We're like that wandering dog in the middle of a bunch of damn cows. There's no other cows, no other dogs out there, but it's 1,000, 1,000,000 cows and one dog. We're that one dog because we don't have anything in common with what we have to contend with on a daily basis. We don't have anything. You cannot tell me that you walk around and say, let's open an African-American restaurant, soul food restaurant. That don't have no significance whatsoever when it comes to a Chinese restaurant or an Italian restaurant or a German restaurant. A soul food, look at the difference though. A soul food restaurant versus a Chinese restaurant. A soul food restaurant versus an Italian restaurant. You see where I'm going with this? A soul food restaurant versus a German restaurant. All three of them that I just named got their own cuisine, their own food, and their own nationality tied to it. Italian, German, Korean, Chinese, it's all tied to whatever they do. But when we do something, what is it tied to? Soul? What the hell is soul? What's soul food? What's it tied to? You know, it ain't tied to shit. It ain't white people do soul food too. I'm just saying, man, we don't have that culture where anything is tied to us. Like, what do we have in common as black folks? A soul food restaurant? Nope. What do we have in common as black folks? That's what I want to know. You got one thing. Tell me one thing. One thing.
Our history.
What history? from the Civil War to present, you ain't got no, that your history didn't start at the end of the Civil War when you walked off the plantation. Your history was begun hundreds and thousands of years before that, which you have dismissed like it didn't exist. You didn't just pop up out of thin air when you walked off the plantation. You didn't, just because they say you were property, that doesn't mean you didn't have anything before that. Kunta Kinte was the only example ever I seen on TV that represented the denial of one's culture, the taking you out of what you really are and making you what they wanted us to be. Every one of us are made what
so
they
where's the benefit of, where's the benefit of knowing how Italian you are, how German you are, where's the benefit in those kind of?
There's just a
why is that even important?
There's a complacent feeling to know, oh, I'm 30% German, I'm 40% this, I'm 20% that, and my ancestry descend from Sierra Leone in Africa. But that don't do a damn thing for you, period. It don't do, it's just a waste of damn money. This genealogy shit, you already got your genealogy. Only thing you have to prove as a Black American is that you are a descendant of slaves. That's it. You don't have anything else to prove other than you are a descendant of slaves.
Because knowing you got 10% Scottish blood, what does that do?
That's what I'm saying.
Where's the benefit to that? Does that mean that you're more American as a Black person? Where's the benefit?
Nothing. It's a way to get you separated from your money. That's what it is. That's all it is. It don't, because you have white people. We're Asiatic, by the way. We're not Black. We're not white. We're Asiatic. That is our nationality. 100%. There are only two. We're Asiatic. Don't forget what the other one is. Excuse me. Might be Caucasian, but we're Asiatic. All of us are Asiatic, and Asiatic contain Black people, white people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Korean people. All these people fall under us as Asiatic.
But when that craze was going on about genealogy, you didn't hear about Asiatic portions of us. It was just European.
Well, yeah, that's the other one. You hit it nail on the head. It's only those two, European and Asiatic. That's what it is. Those are the only two races on this planet. America broke that shit down though, so they can take it. And that's all they've done. They broke it down so they can take advantage. And they admitted people to the United States based on how they felt about who they wanted here. Now they're talking about expelling the over 250,000 Ukrainians that came here, which they shouldn't have been brought here to start with, because they brought them here and then they put them all on welfare and start paying everything.
But that could be your next door neighbor. You said it was a white person living next door.
You think they're white. But why did they do that? They trying to enhance the population of the white folks. They don't have enough folks left because everybody is more Asiatic than they are European. But Germany is different. Germany is European. Russia, European. Ukraine, European. All those countries over there, European. So over here in Western Africa, which is where we are, West Africa, we are Asiatic. Africa, Asiatic. They're not Africans, they're Asiatic. Africans will tell you they are Asiatic. They won't tell you we're African. We are Asiatic too, but we don't know how to prove it. And the only way you prove it is to know your genealogy beyond what the white man made you know.
But look what the white man had to do from a historical, factual. Look at the narrative the white man had to create to bring us to humanize us. Look at that lie. Look at how they had to stretch that lie to do it to.
Yeah, if they tell you that you're a dog every day, all day, for hundreds of years, what you gonna believe at the end of the day? That you're a dog. If they tell you you're stupid for hundreds of years and generation after generation, it's bred into you. See,
Well, and you know the irony, it's an obvious lie, right? Because if we were so dumb we couldn't read, why was it illegal to teach us to read? I mean, the lie didn't even make sense.
Run, ain't it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make. If we it's like you know the truth, but you're ignoring the truth. That's what you're doing. You're ignoring it, but you know it. Just like when the emancipation went into effect, the first thing they come out with is the black codes. Why? Why did they come up with the black codes? Because the United States wrote stipulations in the 14th Amendment that gave white men the ability to get the slaves back. So what did they put in? You got the 14th Amendment right there. You read that first part. They gave them the ability to take us right back into custody and put us back in the cotton field. Just like that. So millions of black people who walked off the plantation walked right back into slavery as a free person, but incarcerated.
So the 13th Amendment or 14th?
The 14th. Is it the 14th? I think the 14th.
Which one you want me to read? The one about slavery or the one about
one about slavery? That's 14th?
13th.
The 13th Amendment. Can you read that?
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
Right.
Congress has the power to enforce this legislation.
So when they write that into law, into the amendment to the United States Constitution, and say that you can.
Why do they need to say that though?
How is you gonna get us back where you need us? We're always needed as labor. That's it. Nothing else. Everything else that came with it.
Why didn't they just say Section 1, slaves are no more, whatever the language they want to use. Slavery no longer exists in the United States, period.
It changed from slavery to prisoner.
The 13th Amendment we should have an amendment to the, well, it's too late now, but slavery, it should have said slavery no longer exists in these United States.
Period. But now they had to put the except in there to give the white man the ability to put people back on the plantation.
God, that is some cold language.
That's bad, ain't it? So then let me explain that. They wrote the black codes. So the black codes were every single thing that they could come up with that would take you and incarcerate you and then lease you back out to the plantation.
Yeah, because you had nothing after slavery. So
who got rich off of that though? Even it was profitable. So when you got arrested as a slave, you were a slave, then you got arrested, then you got released back out to the plantation. Only two people benefited. The sheriff, because you had to pay the sheriff in order for you to get that slave. And so now, why is this? Next question. Let me finish. Now you got that slave on the plantation. You got that prisoner back on your plantation. You working to him. You ain't got to care for the food that you got to feed him. You ain't got to care for the health care of that slave. It's no longer a main responsibility. You right where the white man wants you, because he doesn't want that responsibility to be feeding you and taking care of your health. You're no longer his property. You're the state property. So I don't have to treat you the same.
Why do we need this amendment now? Why ain't this amendment been deleted from the Constitution like other amendments have? Why do we still need the 13th Amendment?
Because we still are not free technically. We still considered slaves technically. If you really go to it, you'll know that we are slaves. If you really dig into your history, unless you change who you are, your nationality, and become your Asiatic self, then you're still considered a slave. When push comes to shove, when they implement this, what's the name of it? The Alien Enemies Act that was written in the 18th century. You heard of that? The Alien Enemies Act, written in the 18th century.
I think the 13th Amendment has been.
So the Alien Enemies Act talked about invoking You can invoke the Alien Enemies Act during the course of war, during the threat of war, when you perceive that there could be a war. You can do any of these. If you got the thought that this could create a bad problem for your country, you can invoke the Alien Enemies Act. And the Alien Enemies Act allows the government to lock you up as a black man. So push comes to shove, Trump or any other president, if they decide that we're becoming a threat as black people, they can invoke the Alien Enemies Act and they can lock up every black person they see without cause because of this act, and it's still on the books. So until we understand that these things will be detrimental to us if we don't start to make them change, and the only way we make them change is through enlisting the politics, and the only way we get into politics is we start grooming our younger people to take on public office and move them up through the ranks, because that includes becoming federal judges, becoming state, local judges, becoming senators, House of Representatives, state House of Representatives, and country House of Representatives. Until we start putting our people in more positions that ain't no damn sellout like that one from South Carolina, like Clarence Thomas. We only got the ones that are sold out in position right now. And I don't know about Cory Booker because he ain't doing shit either. I mean, when you get up there, you gotta damn be the biggest asshole you can be. And if you ain't being an asshole, you ain't getting your job done, because politics is about making the other person look weak.
But we're answers. Okay, we're free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need the 13th Amendment now?
Well, because we really ain't free. You know, why ain't nobody up in Congress saying we don't need the 13th Amendment? We're free. Ain't nobody gonna say that. I mean, no. Some of these people know already. Cory Booker know. Big Gummy in South Carolina know.
You know, no, seriously. Why do we need the 13th Amendment?
Why?
If without it, would we go back to slavery?
We probably would, but you know, we're not going to mess with the 13th Amendment because they're not going to get rid of it. Because let me tell you the truth.
It's non-void though. This is free.
This is what you might not know.
We are free.
Yeah, this is what you might not know. There are two 13th Amendments ratified. Two ratified 13th Amendments. Two. There's a 13th Amendment with two sections. The one you're looking at right now, right? You're looking at that one with two sections. Is that correct?
No, the Constitution I got one section.
Well, actually, two. It should be two verses there.
Yeah, section 2.
Okay. Now, the 13th Amendment with two sections. There's one that was ratified, and then the other one that's ratified before this one is the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. There's a 13th Amendment with 20 sections.
That's new to me. I hadn't heard that.
Huh?
That's a new one on me.
Yeah, look it up, man. The 13th Amendment with 20 sections is something that we have failed to pay attention to, but Congress ain't got no choice but to pay attention to it, but they don't, because we are not forcing them to pay attention to it. And until we force them to pay attention, damn, why my thing won't come back up? Hold up, Claude. I don't know what's happening here. All right, there we go. Until we make Congress pay attention to the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, we are going to stay in our situation with slavery. So I got it. I printed it out, but I'm gonna see if I can pull it up right quick, and then we'll do the 13th Amendment, and then we're gonna go ahead and close. With 20 sections, man. All right, here we go. 13th Amendment with 20 sections. This is something that most people fail to believe, but it's real. The 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, ratified in 1865, has two sections, not the 20. That's a lie. Let me find one. Was 13th Amendment 20 ratified? Yes. Here we go. Let's see what history say. History.net. Was the 13th Amendment with 20 sections ratified? It doesn't answer it. It might take me a while because they got it hidden, but it's out there. I don't see it right now, and I ain't gonna waste a lot of time looking for it. But there's a 20.
But you raise a good question. What happened? Why do we still need the 13th Amendment? The reason why we still need it is because of that other provision. It says neither slavery or involuntary servitude.
Okay, here we go. I got it. The 13th Amendment with 20 sections. All persons shall have the right peaceably to assemble and worship, the use of public press, the right of citizens to free and lawful speech in public assembly. I'm just going to run through it. The militia, persons held to service of labor of life in any state under the law thereof may be taken into the territory of the United States for 3 degrees. And it blew it the rest of them. But there's 13th Amendment with 20 sections out there. I got it printed out somewhere. All I'm saying is, let's not be so naive to think that this Constitution is absolute. It's more to it than what they're telling us. And if we don't do the research, we'll never know. I mean, there are people who done the research. Noble Drew Ali did. And believe it or not, the Vatican was formed based on Noble Drew Ali's research. Noble Drew Ali was formed in, I think, October, and the Vatican, 2 or 3 months later.
And they said that the 13th Amendment. Now I'm looking at this. I just Googled it. It says the 13th Amendment. Did the states ever ratify the 13th Amendment with 20 sections? Mm-hmm. There's a notion that the 13th Amendment had 20 sections, and it may very well have, but was never ratified.
Yeah, that's somebody lying, because I got the one that's been ratified, and I got the dates that it was ratified. I got it in my books behind me, but I don't want to start going through the books. I'll have it available.
Now, they probably did debate other things about. I'm sure every one of the amendments had different sections that they debated and argued and discussed that never made it in the final cut.
The key is ratification, brother.
Right. The key is ratification. So that could have been 20 sections, but only those 3 sections, only those 2 sections got ratified.
No, that's the only one the white folk want you to know about. There's more. Why would you think that that's true?
But there were different drafts of the Constitution. That was different languages. So, but they had to get everybody to agree on a document. So it was probably all kind of stuff put in the Constitution, because you had the Southern interests, you had the Southern states, you had the Northern states representatives. So they was hashing back and forth about what went in there, and they had to get a consensus.
Yeah,
so I'm sure there's all kind of weird stuff back then that
we were not included in none of it. So when you see all these things, when everything that included something for us got hidden, Abraham Lincoln wrote an executive order saying that we should get our 40 acres and a mule. That's when a president writes an executive order, it stands.
But there wasn't no blacks. There wasn't no blacks at the convention discussions.
No, we're property at the time.
Right. So we weren't part of the discussion. Nobody asked us. Nobody was.
That was intentional. All of that was intentional. None of it was accidental.
Even though there were free blacks at the time, that could have been black delegates.
There were free blacks sitting right there. There's 3 black men on the $2 bill. I don't know if you ever noticed it. There's 1 black man on the $2 bill in Congress. So there's so much going on beneath the scene that is unfreaking believable. And until we start to understand what's behind the scene, we're going to continue to be in the dark about who we really are. Nobody wants us to know that we're better people than what they pretend. They pretend to paint us as. They can kill black people in the street and get away with it. They can incarcerate us and get away with it. You know what? Our percentage of prison population is astronomical.
It's astronomical.
Based on the population. You know, you got more people in prison damn than white folks. and we're 1/3 the population of them, 1/4 the population of them.
But it's funny, man. We were talking about the economic thing, and I think the economic challenge is number one. But black economic only flourishes in places where you got large black populations.
Yeah.
Because no other group would support black businesses.
No, once they find out you're a black business, they're not gonna put their dollars into it. They're gonna move. That's why we gotta have our own stuff, man. Like you've said in shows previously, that we need our own place. We cannot function in America.
How can you convince black people
right now? This country is so tainted right now with the black and white thing that nothing we can do will be equivalent to existence in America. The only thing they can do is get out of our damn way and give us what's ours and let us.
You got a lot of black businesses in Houston that make it because you got a large black population. Same thing in Dallas. Same thing in Jackson. Same thing in Selma. But
because you can't make it if you ain't got no large black population.
If you ain't got no large black population, unless you own a franchise and you can conceal that it's black owned. Like if you own a Wendy's or you own a McDonald's, you can get by. You can own a bunch of McDonald's. You can own a bunch of Wendy's.
If you're black and you own the McDonald's, you cannot be in the public eye because if they find out you own it,
you can't walk in there with black pictures all over the wall. And
you gotta act neutral. You gotta act like you don't care about race. You gotta act like you don't care about your people. You gotta act like you just care about America.
You gotta give back to your white community. You gotta give back to your.
You gotta make white people comfortable that you are around, and when you do that, you can survive.
But talking about this like we've been talking about it, and I hope your listeners catching on. Mm-hmm. We got some serious decisions to make going forward.
Right. Very serious. I mean, take that start right there, Claude, and go ahead and put your closing statements on. We've been here on an hour.
It's been an interesting show, and I think it does illustrate that we got that we can't go forward doing the same things that we did, looking backwards. Mm-hmm. That it's impossible. And I listed economic independence as one of the first things that we got to have if we're going to move forward. And we just talked a little bit about the restrictions. We also talk about political power, but we can't have the political mindset of our politicians that we have today to go forward. Strategic alliances. I don't know who those alliances will be with. Are they the same alliances we've had in the past? And
screwed us up.
And going forward with those same alliances, are we going to be any better than where we are now? I think one thing that this show has shown today, brother, is that we got a lot of serious thinking to do.
Yep, that's right.
Got some really deep soul searching to do
about our own self
and what we demand from this government. I mean, we wasn't there to participate in the writing of the Constitution, but then we hear now. So the 13th Amendment should be revoked,
or we can create a new amendment that unequivocally states that we are still entitled to our 40 acres.
Something.
We don't need no damn mule no more. We can do a tractor this time.
Something. It needs to be updated. We don't.
But let me tell you something, Claude. In order for that 40 acres of view to come into effect, we have to have an identity. We don't have an identity. And the police treat us like we don't have an identity because there's no identity with us. There's no culture associated with us. We're
that's
world of foreign everything. We're not part of this community. We're not part of America. We're an existence in America that they did not anticipate when they put us off the plantation. We've grown to a point where they just contend with us when they don't like us. They just put up with us when they don't like us.
And they put in so many systems to keep us from expanding in this country.
Yeah, we're not gonna get anywhere.
The abortion system, the criminal justice system. the education system,
medical system,
the medical system,
government policy system. Everything is designed.
Brother, I hope folks listen to this show. I mean, because we got to decide the next steps.
We're bringing the nuggets, man. We're bringing the information. All the people have to do is take heed to what we're trying to tell them. So, Claude, anything else before we proceed to close?
No, I just want to say that we got to really look at the direction that we want to go in the future in terms of strategy. Because if we keep doing the same old thing and expect a different result, then we've lost our minds.
Yeah.
I'll turn it back over to you, my brother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Claude Foster, the founder of CGA Counseling, a consulting group. We want to say thank you for all of his significant input, his knowledge level, and his ability to articulate that information on to you. So I want to say thank you, brother. And again, we are here to pass this information on to our listeners at BNN 247. So thank you, Mr. Claude, for doing what you do. Without further ado, I'd like to get into our closing situation where I want to say a few things before I go. Mr. Claude brought up a few things that I wanted to reiterate. One is economic independence. You know, we all want economic independence. We all go to work, we get up, we go to work, we earn our money, we get our paycheck, and we pay our bills. But don't ever forget, you have to pay yourself first. Because if you're not paying yourself, that means you're not setting yourself up for what's to come tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen with this administration. You don't know who they're going to target next. If you work for the government, you're in a position to be let go tomorrow, which is Monday morning. So I'm asking you, as an individual of color, a Black person, an African American, one of us, an Asiatic person, pay attention to what's happening around you, because it can come back and bite you in the ass, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. We got the Congressional Black Caucus. We got the NAACP. We got the Texas Legislature Black Caucus. All these different groups that are significant groups in our country and in our states that don't do a damn thing to improve who we are. And the number one thing you're going to have to do is figure out who the hell you are. The America keep your identity hidden because they don't want to give you status. And you will never get status in this country until you figure out who the hell you are and start to identify that with America. Thank you so much for listening to the Black News Network. This is the real voice of Black USA. I am Brother Wall Smith-Bey, broadcasting live every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. And sometime you may catch me through the week. So thank you so much for being a listener, a tuner, inner, or whatever you want to call it,